In this series of basic pre-algebra, we'll cover topic number 3, which is addition of fractions. A couple of things to know about a fraction is that, for instance, if you were given 5 over 6, the top part is called the numerator, and the bottom part is called the denominator. Now, if a fraction is, for instance, I put 6 over 5, if the numerator, which is the top part, is bigger than the denominator, this is called a improper fraction. Similarly, if you're given a fraction like this, or a fraction like this, these are called mixed fractions. So just some basic terminology to know before we move on. Okay, now let's say you get a question like, how would you add 3 over 4 plus 6 over 4? In order to add fractions, the first key is to make sure your denominators are same. They have to be the same number. So that's step number 1. Step 1, same denominator. If that's the same, you can go ahead and move on to step number 2, which is add the numerators. Now in this case, you have 3 and 6 on top. So 3 plus 6 is 9 over 4. And that's your answer right there. And you're done. Now in some cases, for instance, another example we can do is 8 over 10 plus 4 over 10. Step 1, the denominator is the same. Perfect. Step 2, add the numerators. 8 plus 4 is 12. That's 12 over 10. Now remember to simplify your answer. That's the term. Think of what table would give you 12 and 10 on the same number. I can think of 2. 2 times 6 gives me 12, and 2 times 5 gives me 10. So that's 6 over 5. Now again, you see how 6 is bigger than 5, and that's an improper fraction. You can rewrite it as mixed fraction like this. 1 over 5. So what did I do over here? Well, if you multiply 1 times 5, that's 5. And 5 plus 1 is 6. So that's the same thing. This is again your improper fraction, and this is your mixed fraction. This right here is the most simplified answer. And based on what your teacher is asking, she could ask you to write the answer in an improper fraction or a mixed fraction. Okay. Now what happens when you do not have the same denominator? For instance, you have 7 and 4 over here, not the same denominators. So again, step 1 would be to get the same denominator. In order to get the same denominator, you have to make sure you look at the numbers 7 and 4 and find their least common multiple. Check out the video on the least common multiples that I've made if you're unsure on how to do that. But let's say you have 7. 7 times 1 gives you 7. There's nothing else that gives me 7. 4. 2 times 2 gives me 4. Nothing simpler than that. Now the LCM in this case would be 1, not that it makes a difference, times 7, times 2, times 2. That's 14. 14 times 2 is 28. So in this case, I have to multiply 4 by 7. Whatever I do at the bottom, I have to do it at the top. 7 times 4. Whatever I do at the bottom, I have to do it at the top. Okay. 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 4 is 28. 1 times 7 is 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Now my denominators are the same. Step 1 is done. What's step 2? Well, we said you have to add the numerator. So step 2 would be 8 plus 7 over 28. 8 plus 7 is 15. 15 over 28. Now, is there any table that has both 15 and 28? No. So that's it, your answer is right there. The numerator is not bigger than the denominator, so this would stay like that. This is not an improper fraction, and this right here would be your final answer. Okay, let's try another problem like this. What if you had 6 over 12 plus 6 over 8? You look at this problem and you say, well, the denominators are not same, so I need to first figure that out. Again, find the LCM. 12 is 6 times 2, that's 3 times 2, and 2. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. Your LCM would be 3. Picking 2 from both sides, writing it as ones. Picking 2 from both sides, writing it as ones, and writing this 2 down. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2, 4, 6 times 2 is 24. So your LCM, your least common multiple, is 24. Okay, well, 8 times 3 gives you 24. Whatever you do at the bottom, you have to do it at the top. 12 times 2 gives you 24. All right, you're following your first step to get the common denominator. 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 24, plus 6 times 3 is 18, and 8 times 3 is 24. Step 1 is done. What's step 2? Adding the fractions up. Okay. 18 plus 12. 8 plus 2 is 10. 1, 1, 2, 3. 30 over 24. You look at this fraction and you say, wait a minute, I can simplify this. Okay, how could you simplify? Well, 2 times 15 gives me 30, and 2 times 12 gives me 24. Can you simplify more than that? Yes. 3 times 5 gives you 15, and 3 times 4 gives you 12. So that's 5 over 4. Is this an improper fraction? If the numerator is bigger than the denominator, then yes, it is. In this case, the 5 is bigger than the 4, so yes, it is an improper fraction. Write it down into the mixed form. That would be 1, 4, 1. And this right here would be your most simplified answer. Again, remember, this is improper, this is mixed. It depends on what your teacher would ask you on the test. Now, another way you could get addition fraction questions is into the mixed form. Now, there's 2 ways to do this question, and I'll show you both the ways. One way to do it is, well, I'll start you with the easy way first. 9 and 7. The more you practice these questions, the more you can think from your head the LCM instead of just writing it all out. So in this case, 7 times 9 and 9 times 7 would give me the LCM. Copy down the 5. 2 times 7 is 14 over 63. 9 times 6 is 54 over 63. Okay. Now add them up because the denominator is the same. Copy down the 5. 54 plus 14 is 868 over 63. Now if you look at it, 68 is bigger than 63. How many times can 63 go into 68? Well, 63 times 1 is 63, right? So in that case, you could rewrite this like this. 6. 68 minus 63 is 5. 5 over 63. So you put that one from here into the 5 and made it a 6, and this is your most simplified answer. Another way to do the same question would be whichever one you find easier, but here's another way that I would like to show you guys. Plus 6 over 7. You could 5 times 9 is 45. 45 plus 2 is 47 over 9. Plus 6 over 7. Again, do the same denominators. 47 times 7 is 329. Plus 9 times 6 is 54. Denominator is 63. If you add these numbers up, you get 383 over 63. And if you simplify it, you get 65 over 63. So same way to get the answer. It's just another method to get the same answers. It's about what you prefer. All right, let's do one last practice problem, and then we will be done. 2 1 over 2 plus 1 over 5. Okay, I'm going to use the first method that we did to solve this problem. Again, same denominators. That's the first step to fractions. You're going to have the same denominators. 5 plus 2 is 7 over 10. And in this case, that's it. That is your answer right there. There's nothing more you can do to reduce or simplify it. I have one more question. I know I said this was last, but let's just do one more question. 6 over 10 plus 2 over 4. Again, you could do 5, 5, 2, 2, because your least common multiple in this case would be 20. That's 12 over 20 plus 10 over 20. That's 10. That's 22 over 20. Well, you can reduce this using the table of 2, because 2 times 11 is 22, and 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, and then 10 can go into 11 only one time, because 10 times 1 is 10. Add that 1 over here, so that should be 11, 1 over 10. And that's it, our answer right here. And that concludes our video on addition of fractions.